public hearing of the Committee on Foreign Relations is hereby called to order. And the previous meeting having merely been suspended, we shall proceed even without a quorum and dispense with that requirement. Let's call on Attorney Dana Alberto, our Legislative Committee Secretary, to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons, guests, and others. Thank you.
Good morning. The Committee on Foreign Relations would like to acknowledge the presence of our distinguished guests, namely, from the Department of Foreign Affairs, we have Secretary Enrique A. Manalo, Ambassador Jose Manuel Babe G. Romualdez, Assistant Secretary Jose Victor Chan Gonzaga, Assistant Secretary Marshal Louis M. Alferez.
If you don't mind, there are quite a few people in the room. Please raise your right hand so that you identify yourself. Salamat. Yes, Asek Alferez. Thank you.
Assistant Secretary Eileen Mendiola Rao. Assistant Secretary Ariel R. Peñaranda.
Sorry, who's that? Oh, please take your seat, please. Yes.
Okay.
There are quite a few chairs still available. Okay. Please proceed.
From the Department of National Defense, we have Secretary Gilberto C. Teodoro Jr., Senior Undersecretary Ireneo C. Espino, Undersecretary Ignacio B. Madriaga. Okay. From the National Security Council, National Task Force, West Philippine Sea, we have Deputy Director General Nestor C. Erico. From the Department of Justice, we have Attorney Freddy G. Ganchon.
Morning, Madam Chair.
Okay. From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we have General Romeo S. Bronner Jr., PA. Okay. VADM Torribo D. Adasi Jr., PN. Okay. MGen Ferdinand T. Barandon, PA. From the Department of Health, we have Assistant Secretary Maylene Beltran, Director Laura Angelia
I'm sorry,
Saison.
can we go back a little bit? There's Admiral Roy Vicente Trinidad. Is he here? Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't see you. Okay. Yes, Department of Health, Asek Beltran.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Director Laura Angelia Saison, Director Arnold G. Alindada, Undersecretary Maria Rosario Singh Vergeri. From the Philippine Coast Guard, we have CG ADM Ronnie Gil Gavan.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
From the
Yes.
National Maritime Council, we have Captain Armil Angeles, PN.
Thank you.
We have also Mr. Vince Dizon.
I'm sorry. Vince, okay. What's your position and who are you representing this morning?
Invited me,
Yes, as the vaccine czar.
well, as deputy to Secretary Galvez at that time.
Okay,
Opo.
thank you.
Okay. We also have virtual presence of Professor Jonathan Ong
Thank you. I see you.
and Dr. Daniel R. Lucy, MD.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Dr. Lucy.
Yes. That will be all, Madam Chair.
You also have indicated the ICT Director Reyes. Dana, you also indicated the ICT Director Reyes. I don't think they've been called. NBI Lotok and CICC USEC Alex Ramos. Are you here? They aren't here. Yeah, they're highlighted. So there's no one from the cyber or ICT community? Yes.
Director
Director Reyes, oh, you're
Carlos
here.
P.
Okay.
Reyes.
Pero wala rito si NBI Lotok? Wala rin
No,
si CICC, si Alex Ramos?
Wala po.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, all right. Any of the stakeholders that need to be here? Vince, you're the only one. Professor Jonathan Ong and Dr. Lucy. Thank you. We're done with that acknowledgement. Pursuant to Section 2 of the Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation, granting the Senate committee the power to initiate inquiries if the matter is within the committee's purview, the Committee on Foreign Relations hereby calls this inquiry in aid of legislation on the following issues. First, given the difference in the time zone, we start with the alleged anti-vaccine propaganda by the military of the United States of America during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thereafter, the Layunin Shoal incident on 17 June, resulting in injuries to the Philippine Navy personnel, and such other matters as may be related to vaccines, rotation and reprovisioning, and other cyber attacks and hacking that have been alleged. The so-called great power competition is reaching a boiling point, and unfortunately, our country and our people are already starting to pay dearly because of it. In today's hearing, the committee will attempt to examine how both sides in this emerging new Cold War have manipulated to a certain degree our country and many of the information channels, putting people at risk and threatening the survival of the nation in many cases. Last June 14, Reuters reported a deliberate and clandestine anti-vaccination operation by the military of the United States to discredit China's Sinovac vaccines as a response to Beijing's efforts to blame the U.S. for the pandemic. It was alleged that the anti-vaccine effort was undertaken by the U.S. military and was designed to counter China's growing influence in the Philippines and other developing countries. The Reuters article mentioned that the campaign was conducted through fake internet accounts meant to impersonate Filipinos. And they identified at least 300 accounts on X, formerly Twitter, likely used for anti-vaccination campaigns. And these accounts were all created in the summer of 2020, centering on the slogan, #China ang virus. We must verify if the anti-vaccination and misinformation campaign was indeed orchestrated by the U.S. military. If verified, there is also a need to further determine the ramifications of the action of the U.S. military, any potential breach of international law, and any possible legal recourse available to the Philippines, considering that such anti-vaccination and misinformation campaigns threaten national security and, more importantly, the health of Filipinos. The next issue focuses on the incident last June 17, wherein a Philippine Navy sailor was seriously injured after Chinese vessels intercepted a resupply mission to BRP Sierra Madre. This incident marks a serious escalation in the aggressiveness of the People's Republic of China in intercepting Philippine rotation and resupply missions to Layunin Shoal. And for the first time, Chinese personnel boarded Filipino military boats, took Filipino firearms, and seriously injured Filipino military personnel. This escalation took place despite the current strategies being employed by Philippine authorities, including the filing of diplomatic protests, the transparency campaign on rotation and resupply, the joint patrols being undertaken by the U.S. and other Filipino allies. There is a need, therefore, to further examine the events that took place on June 17 in order to determine how the government can better protect Filipino servicemen and citizens during rotation and resupply to Layunin, and to ascertain the changes that should be made to current strategies employed by Philippine government in order to allow the country to more effectively and safely assert our sovereign rights. And with that, may the committee secretary therefore administer the oath to our resource persons so that we can begin.
Kindly stand and raise your right hand. Even those who are virtually present, please. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding. Thank you. You may sit down.
Yes, I'd like to begin with the statement derived from the Pentagon regarding the Reuters article The Department of Defense, and this refers to the U.S. Department of Defense, conducts a wide range of operations